a guy wearing a medal on the screen, Chris. What does that even mean? Do they give out medals now in the NBA? I know
So
what it means.
NBA, we have champions in the NBA right now, Scotty. The Milwaukee Bucks are NBA Cup champions. Hey, let's give it up. Give it up. Nice slow clap for the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks. There you go. Congratulations.
You did it in a in-season tournament that already in year 2 is feeling more meaningless than year 1. I don't blame the NBA for trying something different. I don't think it's working, but again, I think I said another stream, like if the Nuggets were involved, maybe I'd care more. But the Nuggets have never even made it to like the elimination round, so I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, the Nuggets haven't been competitive. They don't value this tournament. The last year was the inaugural season of where we adopted this NBA Cup tournament format, and it's put in place for people to get invested in the games in November when the season starts, like kind of leading up to Christmas. There's not really a lot of hype. It's early in the season. Not a lot of people are paying attention. So they put that in, and they, had a lot of success last year in the sense that the blinding courts or the
which nobody likes,
but you got to draw attention to it somehow. That's what they chose to do, which I think is interesting. Lakers won it last year, so LeBron took it down, and we saw how that kind of affected them over the course of this. I feel like they lost like 6 straight games after that. They put all their time and energy.
Speaking of LeBron, is he? Are we ever going to see him again?
He's back. He played a game.
Did he? Oh, he played.
He did. He did play recently. Yeah, he played like the latest game, but yeah, he was gone for a little bit.
He got off Twitter for like 3 days. That was a big moment for him.
Yeah, and a lot of speculation.
Is the NBA Cup like a participation trophy? I don't get the point. The point they were trying to do is model off of like
Euro
what they
soccer.
do in European soccer, where there's like in-season tournaments, but a part of that is like you play teams from like different leagues, even, or different levels of leagues.
Yeah,
so it's like somewhat interesting in that aspect, where these are NBA games
now.
NBA games.
They need to figure out something to make it a little bit more. I mean, they give players what, 500,000 or something like that. If they is something like that in that range.
Sure.
For if you win, you get an extra little bonus. But yeah, it's. I think that there needs to be some adjustments.
Milwaukee's, whose team won it this year, and he's like, it doesn't matter.
No,
so
I will say
clearly it doesn't matter.
Like the fact that another superstar won it this year and actually actively tried to win it gives it some more credibility. Like if the Bulls or the Hawks or somebody like that won it, I feel like it would be worse. But the fact that you got LeBron winning it one year, Giannis winning it the next year, and both of them were really at a certain point really going for it, it shows other superstars around the league that, hey, yeah, this could be fun to win and this could be important. What I think needs to happen, and I heard this by someone, I can't remember who said it, but the final game doesn't account for it doesn't account on your record for wins lost. It's like a game that doesn't exist. If you really wanted to make it some sort of first pick in the lottery. Now, I here's my solution and what I've heard.
He said first pick after the lottery, to be clear.
Oh, first pick after the lottery.
First overall. Yeah.
What they could do is just make it so you get that extra win and it counts to your record that no one else has a chance to get. So, when you're in those races to get into the play-in, you have an extra win that nobody else has the opportunity to have. So, it does kind of skew the lines of, 82 game season, but at the same time, it's like that's only available for one team to have that advantage in those types of scenarios and situations. It could matter big. It could be a big thing. I don't know. That's one thing that I feel like maybe they should think about. But yeah, otherwise it's lost its luster from year 1 to year 2 for sure. You could feel that. But that goes into our next thing here, Scotty, of the ratings. That goes into the ratings of generally the NBA is down in ratings across the season. Massively. And I mean, all other sports I feel like are kind of on the up and ups. NBA is kind of in a spot where they're not getting great ratings, and it's reflecting in the product and the fans' excitement for the game. Whether it's the 3-point shooting, every game looks the same. We had a game where the Bulls and the Hornets shot 75 threes and missed 75 threes in a game, which is wild to me.
They went a combined 0 for 75.
0 for 75.
No shot.
Well, or not 0 for. They just missed a record 75 shots. They took more than that.
Did you hear? And I know people hate on Nick Wright, and I get it. I like him because he purposely wants people to hate him, and that's like what his thing is.
Yeah, that's his brand.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. But also, he on his podcast, he had a point, Chris, where originally when I heard it, I was like, that's idiotic. But then I thought about it more. I'm like, oof, that kind of makes sense. Because they need to get away from, well, we've always talked about Steph Curry changed the game, right? And for a while it was exciting and it was fun.
Scoring,
but now
yeah.
it's growing stale, and all it's just 3-point shooting, kick out to a guy, have him shoot a 3, back and forth. Did you hear what his idea was?
So he had a couple ideas. I think one of them was it dunks are worth more?
Dunks are worth 3 as well.
Yep. Dunks are worth 3.
And initially I was like, well, that's idiotic. And then I thought about it more, and I'm like, that might help the game a lot, actually. That might help the game a lot.
Well,
I don't think they'll ever do it. But I don't hate the idea of, like, putting an emphasis on, like, creating. And, like, dunks are, like, what people want to see, right? Like, it's exciting and fun. Like, yeah, that's why you watch. That's why... No, I was going to say something else. Never mind. I won't say that because that's controversial. But like, that's why you watch, is to see these elite athletes. You don't watch necessarily to see a random dude just shoot from 3 wide open all the time, or maybe not wide open. He's 8 feet behind the line. Like, I don't know, but like, I like the idea. The NBA will never adapt it because you can't. Like, that then messes up like all the stats and history and stuff if you're giving 3 points to dunks or whatever. But I think it would help the game.
But here's the thing.
I think it would make it more exciting.
And I think we both saw the same podcast, and like, there needs to be a change. We see these changes happen. I mean, there's yearly changes in the NFL. Every single year they change a rule. We got the kickoff rule this year that it changes everything. Even it looks like shit, but they're giving it a try. They're shaking it up. They're trying to make the game a little bit different when it comes to, 1, safety, but 2, just how to improve the game and make it more entertaining and exciting. Now, they miss a lot of times, but I think a few things that he also said on that were interesting. Dunks worth 3. Also, you only get 3-point shots to a certain extent, like 50 points worth of 3-point shots, or whatever that number is, increment of 3. Maybe you only get, I don't know, a certain amount. Let's just say, let's see, 42 3-pointers that you could score. And then after that, anything behind the 3-point line is a 2. It takes away the fact that, you're going to be shooting those all game long. You're not getting the value from those shots anymore. And you're able to, really turn the game into something that's a little bit more creative, that you're working inside the 3-point line. I think Colin Cowherd mentioned just eliminate the corner threes. That was another thing. Just get rid of that, because that's tough to guard, and then a lot of people can hit those corner threes, and it's one of the easier shots to hit. Just have the line go into the bench and just make it a true arc. That was another idea. I think I saw, what's his name? Bill Simmons. He had an interesting thing for like the end of games when it comes to free throws, because that's always something that kind of bogs down and extends a game longer than you have to. Did you hear this one?
I did not.
He was like, all right, you foul somebody within the final minute of the game. The first free throw, I think, let me see if I can recall this. The first free throw is worth 2 points. And if you make it, that's it. If you miss it, you still get your second free throw. And it's like anything else. So you could almost...
I don't love that just because I don't trust the refs to call it.
Well,
properly.
and that's one of the things that would be an issue is like it puts a lot of ownership on the referees to be able to identify those scenarios, but it's all within the final minute. So it's like, you could be guaranteeing one free throw to get 2 points every single time, and they just kind of add up over that time. So that was another thing.
Yeah.
But
you brought up Colin Cowherd, and this is off of the NBA or basketball in general real quick, and I'll get back to basketball in general. But it made me think of the fact, and I forget, maybe I liked it, maybe I found it. Colin Cowherd's current co-host on his...
I saw this too.
is Jason McIntyre.
Yeah.
That man is the single dumbest human being maybe on the planet. He's so fucking dumb. How does he get that job? He's so dumb and says idiotic things left and right. I don't even remember what it was. But, like, it's constant. It's not just one time that he said idiotic things. He says idiotic things all the time.
Is this in reference to the Shaq, Kenny, the...
Oh, it was. Yes. He was like, inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You're so dumb.
Yeah.
You're so dumb. They are not hurting the NBA. People are watching in order to watch the pregame, halftime show, and postgame. There would be far less viewership.
Correct.
If they didn't have that. Like, yes. Like, is it a problem to call out when you see a spade is a spade and you're like, they're not playing well? And for him to say that they only trash on teams is not fair. They absolutely say when a team's playing well. But Jason McIntyre is a moron. He's a moron.
I heard that take and I just shook my head and I was like, what are we talking about? Like, there's a reason why they were battling over trying to get that whole crew. I mean, there's a fight because everyone wants to watch them. And going into the season with the contract issues, with the television contract and everything else, that was the only thing people cared about at a certain point.
I care way more about watching national games, like when the Nuggets play national TV games, when they're on TNT versus ESPN. I'm like, ESPN, I'm like,
it's
maybe
fine.
I'll watch, but it's so much better on TNT. It's so much better. So he's an idiot. It's fine. I also think basketball, both the NBA and college, because I was watching Kansas play this past Saturday, and I swear there was more commercials. There was more time spent on commercials in the second half than there was actual game. Like, they need to lower the amount of timeouts. That's a super easy, but I get why you don't, because guess what timeouts equal? They equal commercials.
And advertising.
Revenue,
yep.
Advertising. I understand it, but it's taking away from the product.
Yeah.
It just is.
Shout out to chairman of the board. 32 months. Let's go.
What's up, chairman?
With the Twitch Prime sub. Go give chairman a follow if you can. He always does his streams he does conspiracy theories. He has the music streams. He has all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I'm with you, Scotty. As far as the commercials go, it's brutal.
Way too many.
I mean,
way too many.
Yeah, and it's just
they have to feel it with this viewership drop. Like, you got to make an adjustment. You have to make an adjustment, and that's the easiest one to do. Is just take away some of the timeouts. There's too many timeouts.
Yeah,
there just is.
Agreed. And again, even like at the end of games, trying to figure out a way, whether it's that different ways of penalizing teams for fouling or doing some. I mean, there's got to be something at the end of games, because that's one reason why my wife is just like, she hates watching these college games and NBA games where the last 2 minutes of the game end up being like 20 minutes long. and it's just like it's drug out, and it's just like we got to figure something out there. Baseball did it with the pitch count or the pitch clock or whatever it was, to speed up games and try to get things going there. Now there was some controversies with that. With is that going to give people more injuries? How's that going to affect the game? But you have to do something. The NBA is in a place where they haven't changed their product in a long time. All these other sports are changing different rules and different ways to watch the game. And the NBA isn't, for as innovative as they are, for as much as they are engaged with fans and really good about, connecting with fans, they don't seem to be making a lot of moves to change things up. And that's an Adam Silver thing. And
I'll go one further. In college and the NBA, they should remove the ability for the refs to go and replay out of bounds calls.
Yes.
I mean, listen, you go the other 40 whatever minutes and they get calls probably wrong all the time. I get reviewing like fouls. Fouls is one thing. But these out of bounds calls where it's like pretty clear, but they're like, well, we're in the last minute. We want to make sure, so we're just going to go look at it. And it's like every time the ball goes out of bounds, they're like, well, we're going to go look at it just to make sure. It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah. It's just bad.
Just go with whatever the call is. The refs suck all the time, so they make the wrong call all the time.
Speaking of Adam Silver and trying to innovate the game, he's doing everything he can to do that with the NBA All-Star Game, which
Kevin Durant is hyped about it.
Which I think, you know what, Kevin Durant can suck it. Because
Fair.
Here's the thing. He's the reason why we have this issue in the first place. Effort from superstars playing in the game is the reason why we're having to go every single year to change things up. So the fact that he's coming out saying, "Oh, this sucks," you're the byproduct of why this is happening in the first place. So they just released the NBA All-Star Game format as far as this current year, and how it works. For the first time, the NBA All-Star Game will feature a mini tournament with 4 teams, 3 games. 2 teams will meet in this one semifinal, game 1. The other 2 teams will meet in the other semifinal, game 2. The winning teams from game 1 and game 2 will advance to the championship, game 3. For each game, the winner will be the first team to reach or surpass 40 points in each game. Each team will have 8 players and be named for TNT NBA analyst. By the way, remember that panel that everyone that's hurting the NBA? They're the ones that are going to be managing these teams, Scotty. Huh. Interesting. Inside the NBA's commentators, Charles Barkley, Shaq, Kenny Smith, and then we'll have, I think it's whatchamacallit? What's her name? Candace Parker. They will each be managing a team. So Team Charles, Team Shaq, Team Kenny, and the
Candace.
Team Candace.
The Rising Stars.
Rising Stars. So the winner of the Rising Stars game will go and play against the NBA All-Stars in that format. So,
which this isn't they've already done this, but they just did it in the Rising Stars scenario.
Correct.
They did a tournament play with that, and now they're going to try with the actual All-Stars and see how it works.
Correct.
Whatever. I mean, what All-Star game's good right now? None of them. So,
no.
try something different.
Yeah, why not? Voting process to determine the 24 All-Stars will remain the same. 5 players honored as starters in each conference will be selected by fans, 50% of the vote. Thank you, Brendan, for the raid. Appreciate that. Hope you had a great stream. Welcome in. Shout out to Brendan. Go give him a follow if you haven't already. Thank you, Brendan. So yeah, 50% selected by fans. Current NBA players is 25%, and media is 25%. The 7 players honored as reserves in each conference will be selected by the NBA head coaches. And it goes on from there. So that's the new format, Scotty. I'm all for it. I think that they need to. It's an all-star game, and we haven't exactly seen, like you mentioned, anything exciting from any all-star games, really, much less the NBA. And they're doing what they can. It's it's just so ironic from Kevin Durant to come in and just be like, yeah, this sucks. I don't like this. This is awful. Because you're part of the problem, Kevin. You and everyone else who doesn't put in the effort have made this what it is. So you're welcome.
Yeah, they got to put on effort, and that's the key. And I don't know if this will change that or not, but it's all based off of effort. How do you get them there? Let's try something else. I don't know. Because there used to be just pride, but now players could give two shits. They're like, it's a party. I'm there for the party of
Yeah.
NBA All-Star Weekend. The game is like, yeah, people. I'm excited to be in the game and be an All-Star, but like, I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna make an effort on defense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. So I don't want to hear any superstar players, any all-stars complaining about this. Not a single one. Just
Now, you said it's first to 40. That could happen in like 3 minutes.
yeah. For each game, the winner will be the first team to reach or surpass 40 points. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna be quick hitters. I mean, it's gonna be fast. I mean, they do have to do like a tournament format, and I'm sure there's like we talked about, a million commercial breaks when everyone's trying to watch this new thing. So anyways, oh, by the way, last thing I'll say on this: 4 teams participating in the will compete for the prize pool of $1.8 million, with each player on the championship winning team receiving $125,000, each player on the second place team receiving $50,000, and each player on the third and fourth place teams receiving $25,000. Which is,
sadly, when you have all-stars there, that doesn't move the needle, to be
No.
honest.
No, money is just that's what they take.
125. They make that in a game.
The players,
It's a normal game.
the players receiving $25,000 will go out and spend that at the local bar later on that evening, probably buying drinks for everybody. That's just how it is. So, anyways, that being said, between the NBA Cup, you got the All-Star game, you got the ratings. NBA is in a weird place right now. It's in a weird place. And for me, I'm a big NBA guy. I love the NBA. You know that, Scotty. I'm like, NBA is my love. I love watching the game. And I'll admit, this year it's been difficult. It's been more difficult to watch. And I think some of it's attributed to the Broncos being competitive this time of year. That's helped me to, keep my focus on football a little longer than I normally would. But at the same time, like, I'm going back to watching some of these games, and every game looks the same. It's all like, there's nothing. I mean, we're lucky enough to have a team in Denver where we can have some fun watching some really good basketball, moving around team basketball. I can't say the same for some of these other teams that are playing around the NBA. We're lucky here in Denver for sure. So there you go. But guys, what are your thoughts? I know a lot of you guys may not love basketball as much as some of the other things we cover here, but if you're a basketball lover, let us know. Drop your thoughts on what any of these topics are. And I'd love to get your perspective on where you think the NBA is at, where you are. I think Broncos mentioned it's a bad product earlier on. He said dunks and threes with no defense, bad product right now. So
early in the stream, someone did Channel Point Redemption say something mean about Giannis and him flopping on loose balls.
Just that. Don't flop. I hate floppers in all sports, across the board. I mean, I've talked about the NFL with the clear front runner for MVP right now. He still does it. It drives me nuts. Just don't do that. You don't need to do that. You're Josh Allen. You're a stud. You're really, really good. Don't flop. Giannis, you're a stud. Don't flop.
Yeah, Giannis. I mean, would say something bad about Giannis flopping, or about Giannis, or about Giannis flopping?
It was like, I mean, you have the activity feed up.
Let's see. Giannis and his love for flopping on loose balls. Yeah, I think yes. There's only one thing to say. It sucks. Anytime players flop actively, it's just like, you know who you are. You the Joel Embiids of the world, the James Hardens of the world, all you guys that are out there that just grift for free throws, just free throw grifters. Nah, it sucks. It sucks. That's also what makes the product bad too. I mean, there's so many different angles to it, and they've tried to get the flopping out of the game, but it's always going to be a thing.
You could just bring it. And this is a different point, but like the NBA Cup, the team that just won it in games that weren't this end season tournament, they're 8-11. They're 8-11, in their normal games. But shout out to Darvin Ham.
Darvin, hey.
7-0 with the Lakers in the NBA Cup last year. 7-0 this year with the Milwaukee Bucks on the assistant coach side of things. Dude doesn't lose in the NBA Cup. Doesn't lose.
I mean, two-time champ. Two-time. He is he's living the dream, man. Darvin Ham. Why did they ever get rid of him?
Oh, they couldn't pass up this sweet coach they have now in LA.
As someone that doesn't watch a lot of basketball, how much does the NBA Cup really mean? Like, I know it's not as much as the championship.
Zero.
Outside of money and a trophy that you win.
And like them trying to build excitement in regular season games and a long season is what they're trying to do. But the cup itself doesn't mean anything.
I do think they should make that.
I still think it's embarrassing that the Lakers hung a banner for that last year. Like, that's the Lakers. You're one of the most historic franchises in the NBA. You are embarrassing yourself by putting that up.
And you know what's interesting? So Broussard and Nick Wright were talking about this, and over time, and Nick Wright mentioned that at some point when we're talking legacy of players, there will be a point where people will start to reference NBA Cup wins. Now, it's not like it's like something that is going to weigh heavily, but it's like, hey, you got to win one if you're a superstar. Because right now, Giannis has one, and LeBron has one, and that was kind of what led to their point of like a big name needed to win it to keep the hype or to keep the excitement for other superstars to want to win it. And so, at some point they're going to look at LeBron. LeBron's got one. Giannis has one. Where does Jokic have one? Does these other superstars? Like at a certain point, that might creep into the conversations when people talk about legacies. And so, who knows? But we're not there yet. It's still year 2. They're still building it, and we still got ways to go.